Hello and welcome to the 2022 Seattle Auto Show. This is my first time here since 2018, I think. Last time I was here, I was excited to see the Kia Stinger GT. That's how long ago it was when that car came out.
That was exciting.
Yeah, it was. I have Steffan here with me. This is actually, Steffan's your first time, is that correct?
First time at the Seattle Auto Show, yeah.
You didn't ever work at the Tesla booth when you were?
Negative, I was in service at the
time. Gotcha. All right, well I don't know if this is the first time they've opened since COVID, but it's a little bit smaller this year, so we'll kind of see what they have going on. A couple of brands missing. Tesla isn't here, which is not surprising, but brands like Mazda, Porsche are actually not here as well. So we'll make do what we have. I think for the purpose of this video, what we'll do is instead of talking about the specs of new cars or existing cars, we're really just gonna do more like an interior interview. We actually just finished a Cars and Feel episode talking about safety features and usability in cars. And so I think it'd be a great opportunity to have all these cars here to get into the interior, kind of see how they're laid out, kind of see how, if we've never been in the car before, is it easy for us to pick up controls and use and stuff like that. Seattle Auto Show has always been a little bit smaller than the traditional auto show, mainly because the OEM manufacturers don't put a lot of money into it directly. It's mostly funded by the Washington dealer network or something like that. So a lot of the cars here aren't actually manufactured press vehicles. They're actually cars that dealerships are actually bringing out. So for example, the Honda booth is from Honda Kirkland. So they're bringing their own inventory out, what they have to take a look. And as you'll see here, even the manufacturers that are here, missing a couple cars because of course, we're still in a supply chain issue situation. So we're missing some cars, but we're gonna have some fun and we're gonna kind of take a look to see what they got going on today.
We're starting off on the top floor here at the Avants Then and Now exhibit, which kind of shows the lineage of a couple of cars that they're showcasing here. Take a look.
This is something I've been super excited about. I've yet to see one of these in person.
The big controversy, of course, is going to be the front grille.
Yep.
That everyone was talking about.
Yep. It does not photograph well.
No, it doesn't. I like it in person a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, I think it suits the car. Big open mouth, huge intake. I'm here for it. I actually think it's one of those cars where it might look better broken up with the front plate on there as well. I could see that kind of working for this.
It's kind of like the BMW nostril, where ironically enough, in modern times with the weird grille design, it actually looks better with a plate in the front.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
But honestly, I think they've done a really good job with this. Like, it's got really sharp lines to it.
Yeah.
I like this kind of the power bulge on the hood there.
What's funny is this is I think this is actually a prototype one, and they have an actual one downstairs.
Okay.
But it looks basically the same. The biggest problem with concept cars is they always look a certain way, and then once
they never deliver that.
They never deliver that, like the WRX the last generation. So it's cool that this actually is what those photos look like.
I mean. It's largely a 370 underneath, so
it is. Even the door panel looks very much identical.
So I would kind of think it'd be a little easier to bring that to reality.
Yeah. Well, in terms of styling, right? Sometimes they overstyle those prototype cars to make you think that's going to look some certain way, and they're like, oh, actually, that's not practical, and the accountants step in. So
I just want to point out something that I'm seeing in the reflections of the light, and I have no idea if this will actually show up on camera or not. But something that I see with almost all modern cars and modern paint jobs, all the orange peel in the light. I don't know. I have no idea if you'll be able to get that, but that used to be something that everybody tried to avoid, and now it feels like it's something that's kind of largely accepted in the industry.
I was reading many years ago that some companies actually on purpose try to add back some orange peel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but. So we got a Mark V Supra here. Love the yellow on this one. Love the wide body kit on this one as well. This one's painted by Fantasy Colors, which I've seen that name around. When I was looking at Integras in high school, there's someone that did like a JDM conversion of one, and they got it painted at Fantasy Colors. So that's my abiding memory of Fantasy Colors. Super amazing paint job. Looks completely factory as well.
Really does. It's even got the factory orange peel.
I would love to see the owner try to daily this, because this is wide as heck, dude.
Also low to the ground, that'd be impossible.
The spoiler looks almost like it's wider than the stock body of the Supra. Do you see how much it's flaring out?
It's close. It's real close.
If it wasn't wide body, I think it would be almost the same. We got a Mark IV over here. It looks like it belongs to Tyler JZ. Tyler, if you're watching, beautiful build, super clean. I think we've actually seen this before at Pac Northwest when we were filming for John. I think it was actually not as completed when we were filming it last. But man, such a classic shape.
For as wild as the new Supra looks, like standing out from everything else, you really do see some of the lineage there.
For sure.
Like I never really noticed that until seeing them side by side.
I mean, especially since, mechanically it's BMW, sure, but it was designed by Toyota, right? In terms of the styling, it has their design language, so. And we love the Supra here at Clutch Kick. We reviewed it a couple years ago.
This is a car that's kind of near and dear to my heart. When I worked for Acura a couple years back, when the new NSX just came out, I got a chance to drive it before it was actually released. They were coming out and demoing them.
Wow. And
it was an unbelievable drive. One of the most violent cars I've ever driven in terms of just raw acceleration.
60 sub 3 seconds on this, isn't it? Yeah,
oh yeah.
And it's so super underrated, I feel like, right now.
I think they kind of priced themselves out of competition, but I do think that this is going to be like long term, kind of one of those sleeper supercars that ages really, really well.
I think in terms of pricing, it's inexpensive for the performance because it's awfully close to like the several $100,000 cars, and this retail for like what, 150? Or
just a hair over, yeah.
It was not very expensive at all, but I think.
The interior lets it down too, though. Like problem, it has the stack out of a plain Acura, basically.
No, it actually has the stereo from a Civic. It had the touchscreen from a Civic.
Yeah.
So when you have that in that price range, it's a little bit difficult to sell. But I love the engineering behind it. The hybrid system is obviously incredible. I love the fact that Acura breaks in every engine before they install it, so you can take it to track immediately on delivery. So
I think really important to note here too with the NSX is that this came out like just after the holy trinity of hypercars, just after the P1, the 918, and the LaFerrari, the Ferrari LaFerrari.
The Ferrari.
But this was basically that at literally about a tenth of the price.
Yeah.
Just absolutely stunning feat. Good job, Acura. It sucks that nobody buys these.
I mean, the big thing with the Holy Trinity was they were showing off like hybrids aren't just for Priuses. We're going to use it to burn more gasoline.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I like that. We had the original NSX next to it, of course. This is the NA1, I believe is what it's called, the pre-facelift one with the pop-up headlights, which I have always adored. I love the 15-inch wheels, I think they were, on these older NSXs. Just really shows kind of like how things have changed. We've moved on to like freaking 19, 20-inch wheels.
As standard on everything.
Yeah, I mean, this has 15-inch wheels, which is incredible.
I do wonder, because one of the big things about the old NSX was its daily drivability and its longevity and reliability.
Yep.
I'm really curious to see
how the new one is like.
That holds up comparatively.
I mean, it must, because it's a Honda product at the end of the day, right? It must be good.
One would hope, but there's a lot of advanced, expensive tech in there that...
I do wonder in terms of livability. You're talking about like, how easy it is to get in and out of, how easy to see out of it, because I believe the NSX was really easy to see out of for a supercar. But I think it's not just the livability of the original one that made it special. It was the fact that it was technically fantastic. Yeah. Ferrari had the 348, which was the the standard Ferrari. That's the equivalent of the F8 now. What a replacement is for the 488, right? So 488, 458, 430, 360. Those were like the entry-level coupe Ferraris. Yeah. And the 348 was the Ferrari at the time. And then the NSX came out, and Ferrari panicked because it was better and less expensive and more reliable. And then they had to come out with the 355. So the Ferrari 355 exists because Honda built this car. And of course, this was the last car to be touched by Ayrton Senna, I believe, who got in it. He drove the prototype car, and I think he said they needed to make it 50% stiff or something like that. He was not impressed with the initial one. So he really pushed Honda hard to build this car properly.
This thing's been taken care of.
Yeah, I hope we get to film something like this. Instagram handle KLMJBowen if you're watching. Reach out to us. We'd love to work with you, maybe film something. Very important piece of history here for Acura and Honda.
And we're big fans.
We're huge fans. Huge fans. This is a Cadillac CT4 Blackwing, which is not to be confused with the regular CT4V, because the regular CT4V now is more like a BMW M Sport. The Blackwing is an actual M car. We saw this car yesterday when we were taking a look. Great color. Look at the Instagram tag. I know this guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook. We were going to film this car, Andrew.
So, future Clutch Kick series.
Yeah, future Clutch Kick. We'll have to film this. But this is a CT4, which is the little smaller one. So it only has quote unquote, the V6 twin turbo versus the CT5V's V8, supercharged V8, I think it is. But both available with manual, which is, this is supposed to be, Cadillac's like last hurrah, basically.
It's the swan song for this.
It is. My favorite fact about the manual transmission is that I believe they 3D printed certain parts of the shift knob for the manual because they knew that they would produce manuals in such small numbers. They were like, for economic reasons, we're just going to 3D print these specific manual parts.
That's honestly pretty brilliant.
It keeps the bean counter happy and it keeps the enthusiasts happy. But shout out to Gene. I will have to hit you up on Facebook. I did not realize this was your car here. That That's awesome. We'll talk soon.
It's a good blue, Gene. It's a gorgeous blue.
Well, I would only get the CT4V and CT5V in this color because this is in all the press images, and this color is just. I mean, if you're gonna get the last ones on the car, why wouldn't it be this color?
Yeah, this is not a car you buy to go unnoticed.
No. This is the origins of the Lamborghini SUV, which no one knows about, but this is the Lamborghini LM002. I believe it was an attempt to make a military vehicle for the Italian military.
The Italian G-Wagon.
Yeah, and so obviously Lamborghini made it, and do you know what engine is in this? Like what other Lambo?
I have no idea.
Countach. So the Countach is V12, and I believe Jeremy Clarkson had one on test, like when he was a journalist, like when he was just starting out and he had no money, and I think he like blew through his entire paycheck with one fill up after like a couple of days.
Oh my
It's just
gosh.
so thirsty. I think it did like 5 or 6 miles per gallon.
I love it. I love this thing.
So cool.
There's an electric truck company right now. It looks almost exactly like this, Bollinger.
Oh,
it looks like very much like they basically modeled this. Maybe there'll be an image slapped up or something, but like it looks almost one for one, like it's modeled after this, minus the power bulge for the hood there.
This is such a neat piece. I don't think I've ever seen one in real life until today. Take a look at the modern equivalent, which is the Audi Q7. I mean the Volkswagen Touareg. I mean the Porsche Cayenne. I mean sorry, the Bentley Bentayga. I mean the Lamborghini Urus.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Go down
I guess
the whole
also
list.
the Audi Q8. Yeah.
Oh, you missed one. Shame.
I have a confession though. I actually really like the Lamborghini Urus for some reason.
It looks great.
Yeah.
It really does.
With or without the wide body, I think they all look great. I also have a soft spot for the Bentley Bentayga for some reason. I don't know why, but I quite like it. I know it's just I know it's just an Audi Q7 underneath, but it's just something about it. It's just very majestic because I think Bentleys have like this majestic presence thing. I think somehow the Bentayga captures that element of the Bentley brand very, very well. So.
It kind of works. Them and the Rolls Cullinan, very similar.
Another
like large
confession.
SUV.
I also like the Cullinan, so I'm gonna go on record for that. I don't know why I like that one as well.
Something I really like about the Urus too is that it actually is pretty capable. There was that. I think it was I don't remember if it was Grand Tour or Top Gear.
Snow?
Yeah, and it was actually a proper beast in off-road and really bad conditions.
Yep. And on road it handles very well too. Of course, the Cayenne has been doing that forever.
Kudos to Lamborghini for doing it right.
Yeah. All right, we got a 2-door Land Rover Defender, which I learned very recently, Steffan, has a either shorter length or shorter wheelbase than a Toyota Yaris or something.
I think you said wheelbase last time you mentioned that. Yeah.
That looks like it might actually be possible, but because they make like a super fast one. It's called the 110, whatever. It has the faster, better engine or whatever, and then it's available in the 2-door. But Doug was saying like because of that short wheelbase, it feels like really unstable with that amount of power, that ground clearance.
I believe it.
Wheelbase, so.
I would believe it.
I love the design of it. I love this bringing back old nameplates like that. So. Old nameplate done well. All right, so this is the M5 CS, largely regarded as the best car in the world right now in terms of speed, power, comfort, practicality, all of that. This is obviously CS being the highest trim level model for M5 right now. Heard nothing but good things about it. This is a factory color, and it's amazing to see this color in person instead of all the press images that are in this color. But I love not just the green, Steffan, but I like the light gold wheels.
Yeah.
It's just such a
green and gold, great combination.
Green and gold. I wish the car was on because my favorite thing about the car is actually the headlights. It has this beautiful yellow DRL thing that's going on, which is awesome. We were almost going to drive an M5. Albert has one. He has an M5 Competition, and he actually also has an E39 M5 in the same color.
Oh, that's right, the back-to-back.
Yeah, that would have been such a great back-to-back. But we also have the original M5 right next to it, which I believe had the engine from the M1, correct?
I believe so.
That's how it got started. Absolutely phenomenal car.
If BMW is listening to me, the smaller kidneys are better than the giant kidneys.
I like that this, of course, being a US model, has the extended bumpers. Do you see how you can actually see where they added extra bumper distance to it?
Honestly, I don't hate it. Even with the extended bumper, it's kind of fun.
Funky. But man, cars were just built different. Look how thin the A pillars are and how like the visibility of it.
The greenhouse of that would be amazing. So easy to drive without any electric nannies.
Yes.
You can just see everything around you.
Yeah, what a concept. So, long last, in the US we have the R6 Avant, which is something that everyone has been waiting for a while. Love this color.
Oh yeah.
First and foremost. Love the roof box on this one as well. You gotta have that kind of camper vibe, which I really enjoy. I don't know how I feel about the wheels personally, but this, I love this kind of family car build.
This is the car that on every auto enthusiast blog, every single person recommends you buy is a green or a brown wagon with proper amounts of power. Like, they want you to buy sports car manual wagons.
Steffan is a firm believer that the only car an enthusiast should have is a, what'd you say it was? A brown V8 manual wagon.
Yeah,
you said, right?
a brown V8 manual wagon.
That is what you want manufacturers to do.
100%. 100%. That is the perfect vehicle.
RS6 is it's just so cool. I don't think I've read a bad review about this car either. I think I heard that it drives fantastically. It obviously looks phenomenal as well. Like, this is what Audi does best, is fast wagons. Like,
you mentioned the wheels, though. I am really curious to know what those would do the ride quality on this thing. I can't imagine they do it any favors.
I think it's on air ride, though, so I think it might be okay.
Probably works out.
Yeah. I think it might be on factory air suspension, which is very easy to lower because you simply just basically trick the sensor into how low or high it is, and that's how you lower it. It's much easier than installing springs and stuff.
I know you commented on it, but I do want to call out very specifically the paint, Audi's, the brilliant color work that Audi's done with this. Like, Audi is nailing it on their exclusive paint colors.
We don't know if this is a factory paint or maybe this is a wrap, who knows. But Audi in general, I've seen their paint quality is really...
I'm here for it.
All right, so this is the RS2 Avant, and this is really special because this is actually Audi's first RS car ever. This is before any other S car or RS car existed. This is actually a joint project with Porsche. Porsche, I believe, manufactured it like in their facilities. Oh, wow. As you can see, like Andrew will get the details later here, but it actually has Porsche brakes.
Yep.
But this is Doug actually has this in the Nogaro blue, which is really cool. But this was the genesis of fast wagons, is with this car.
Love it.
And I've never seen it in this color. This color is sweet. These are starting to be federalized, so these are meeting the 25 years, so these are going to start showing up more and more, which is really cool. But I love the size of it, man, compared to the RS6 over there.
It's a healthy size for a little family wagon, and then get it out on the track and get it sideways.
Yeah, and you can use it as a family car. And Doug did. He actually picked up his newborn son in his RS2 Avant, which is just that child is going to have just such an amazing story to tell about that. I absolutely love it. So glad there's one in Washington. Who is this? At Kirk Kuntz on Instagram. Reach out to us if you want us to film the car for you, because we would be more than happy to, because it's such a unique piece of history. It's awesome.
So this is a car that I'm super excited about. The 4C is just an absolutely stunning little machine. You know, we're talking about all of the electric nannies and all of these driver assist systems and everything like that. It's just really, really cool to have a car that is as analog as this one is.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. I think it's maybe a little bit pricey for what it is.
It was very expensive back in the day, which is why they didn't sell very many of them, unfortunately.
But, you know, even just looking at it, you can tell it's a special little car.
We can't open the door here, but I believe one of the famous things that it has is an extremely wide door sill, so you have to like climb into it.
Yep.
The other quote-unquote disappointing thing about it too, you know, they were really focused on lightweight. You know, they freaking took out power steering, so they had better steering feel. But yet they put in like a single clutch automated manual gearbox or something like that. I don't even know if it was dual clutch or not, but it's just like they didn't offer the manual, so it's like so close to being like this really
This could have been really special.
Yeah, it could have. But yeah, this would be fun to drive as well. Hummer EV.
Hummer EV.
Very exciting seeing it in person. Couple things I've noticed off the bat. It's not as big as I thought it would be, which is good.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be huge because it's a 9,000-pound vehicle. I believe it's not allowed on certain bridges because it's over the...
That is the most Hummer thing I can imagine, if I'm being honest with you.
The most excited feature, I think, is the crab walk.
Yep.
It can go sideways and whatnot. I've seen the commercials for it.
Honestly, it's a cool truck. I am uncomfortable in that I see a lot of kind of Rivian shape or a lot of Rivian inspiration. Not necessarily saying they drew from Rivian, but I see a lot of overlap there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the nature of building an electric truck.
It's a truck. Yeah, it's a truck. Like how do you want to make it? But I mean, I'm not sure this is the truck that I would get if I was looking for an electric truck. But I'm glad it exists because competition, right?
Honestly,
is always a good thing.
I'm glad it exists because it means manufacturers are building interesting cars again. Yeah. You know, in this era where everybody is buying just plain crossovers, it's cool to see manufacturers saying, sure, let's build something different and weird and see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's take a look at the Integra, which I know, Steffan, you've been really excited about this.
Yeah, I think the one coming back to the Integra nameplate is cool. Like, there's a lot of baggage is the wrong word, but there's a lot of history to it. But the fact that you can get a manual transmission in a modern luxury sedan is something special and should be applauded no matter what.
For sure, for sure. A couple of things about the shifter. Go ahead and try it out because I love the feel of it too. It's very mechanical and notchy. It's
like a bolt-action rifle.
It is, which is surprising for a front-wheel drive car because it's not directly connected. It's using cables and all that stuff, so I'm really impressed by that. I love the physical climate knobs, which is something that we're going to be talking a lot about in every single car that we come into.
Nice and weighty.
Yeah, and also it has the vents that are inside, just like on my Saab. Remember that? So that's a cool little detail as well. But
feels very ergonomically kind of laid out. Everything is easy to get at. Yep. Nice buttons for all the major stuff.
Yep. I really like the interior, but I think the challenge that they're going to have with this car is going to be the fact that it costs $8,000 more than $7,000 more than a Honda Civic Si, which is essentially the same car.
Yeah.
So you got to think that's some expensive leather, you know, and it's also a little bit longer, which I don't want. I would like the size of it. I just kind of wish that the SI was also a hatchback, but they reserved the hatchback for the Type R.
Yeah.
But this is a hatchback, which is kind of nice. So for that reason, maybe I'd get the Integra. But I don't know. I just, for $35,000, I think it's a tough sell. Knowing that the SI exists at, it is $8,000 less at 27. 28 if you want the nicer sound system, right? So that's a huge price delta for essentially the same drivetrain. And this is heavier too, so it's gonna be a little bit slower. So,
but you do get, if you're somebody who wants a little more creature comfort while still getting that sporty drive, this very well might be a good option to consider.
Yep. And I'm a little nostalgic as well because I of course had an RSX, so I've tasted that Integra magic. Nice. So this is the 1.5 liter turbo, I believe. Again, same thing as Civic Si. Was it power? Oh, it's manual. Okay, my man. That's actually good space.
Yeah,
I quite like that.
It's kind of cavernous.
Yeah.
Does this come out to give you a little more?
You can if you want to. Like, if you don't need it, you would remove it completely.
That ain't bad.
Yeah.
That is not bad at all.
No. I kind of wish the floor was a little higher. You know what I'm saying? Because there's this big lip right here, so it's gonna make things from a practical perspective. I don't care personally, but there are people out there that will.
I actually did not know you could get it with 355 horsepower. I also didn't know you could spend $73,000 on a TLX.
What the? So besides the crazy price thing going on, Steffan, the thing I wanted to talk about inside here, which is, you've had an Acura before. You had an MDX, I think.
I did.
I had a TL for a little while, and I also had the RSX for a little while here. The TL I was very impressed with because I really liked how that interior aged. I think when that TL came out in 07, I don't think it was as impressive as like a Lexus interior at that time, or BMW, Audi, Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. But I think it aged very well, as in like, the materials have stayed really, intact, even though it was like a 10-year-old plus car by that time. So I was really impressed by that. So I actually generally like Acura interiors. I think they're kind of underrated in some sense.
I think they definitely had a down period when they had the double screens.
The double screen is a dark period for them, for sure. But this interior, although I don't think is competitive in terms of like materials and stuff like that, I think this is gonna age so much better than all the touch screen controls to operate the heated seats and all that stuff. And I'm really interested today at taking a look at the current generation of cars and kind of seeing how all that works, because man, that's gonna drive me insane. Like buying a car that has like all these random touch surfaces, and if you're leasing the car, fine. But I'm imagining like buying some of these cars like 10 years from now, on the used market. Man, those screens are just gonna look outdated. It's just, it's such a weird era of cars that we're in right now.
It's a transitionary period. Everybody's moving to embrace these touch screens.
For sure.
All this new technology.
I just think it's weird that I would choose this based on ergonomics and not materials. That would never been the case 10 years ago. But now it's just like, I would choose this, even though it doesn't have quite nice low surfaces, because all this stuff is logical.
Yeah. It's laid out in a thoughtful way. Somebody was very attentive to it. There is some wasted space here.
For sure. But I think they didn't fill it unnecessarily. I think this shenanigans has got to go. All right.
I actually don't hate this. Of the different touch controllers that are out there, Lexus has their touchpad.
Awful.
Mercedes has done away with the wheel, and they just have the touchpad now
Also
as well.
awful.
BMW still has the wheel for the iDrive. But I actually think that Acura has done a decent job with the trackpad controller.
We'll see how accurate it is. I've never, you know, when you use it in real life, that's going to be a different thing, obviously. But there has to be a better way than using a trackpad, which is not even good on a laptop. It's only good on a MacBook, so I can't imagine that, you know, this is going to be...
It's mapped almost one-to-one, so like if you're trying to get at the top left corner, this is actually the whole screen. It's not like you're scrolling like a mouse.
Okay, yeah. That's a little bit more interesting.
So it makes it a little more sensical. I experienced it in the RDX, the first RDX with the facelifted RDX that had the trackpad in it.
Sure.
And it surprised me with how usable it was.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Sweet.
McLaren Artura.
Yeah, I believe this is their entry-level car now. This is below the 570.
This has replaced the MP4?
No, MP4 was their mid-range. MP4
for a while was the only car they sold for a little bit.
Yeah.
The Artura twin-turbo V6, 671 horse. You can have some fun with that.
I like this color a lot.
It's an interesting color. That is, you wouldn't mistake that for anything else. As I'm getting older, I find it harder and harder to get too excited about supercars, though, knowing they're things that largely I'm probably never going to drive. I'm still fascinated with them for the accomplishments of engineering and, you know, what it takes to make these kinds of things happen. But more and more, I find myself excited by, like, the mid-level sports cars. I think that's where kind of the best bang for buck is.
I agree.
This just absolutely caught my eye. Just this color is absolutely stunning. This is probably the best looking Bentley I think I've ever seen. That's phenomenal. I like how they've evolved the design language too. With the 4 headlights, they've retained the bug eyes, but they still just look very good, very modern. And that's a hard thing to do. A lot of manufacturers, you know, the 4 headlight thing was around for a while and everybody moved away from it. But
all right, so this is the Equinox EV. It's going to start at $30,000, which is a very attractive price tag for not just an EV, but also an SUV.
Yeah, that's super competitive.
Well. Super competitive as well. This is the Blazer, not Trailblazer. I can't remember correctly. But look at the interior on this one. This one's a little bit more expensive. Still not a bad price.
Oh, no.
I think the range is just under $300.
I mean, the average purchase price for a car today is like $38,000, something like that.
Of course, this all depends on if you can find the car at MSRP right now, right? That's the big challenge for it. But the design of the interior is really fantastic. It has the double screen layout thing, but it's well done here. But it also has a good balance of actual HVAC controls as well. So that's good to see. But we'll pan around and kind of take a look at the specs on the Equinox here.
Around
$30,000. I don't know if GM still has tax credits. Andrew's an expert on the EV credits because it's very specific based on if it's used, if it's new, where the battery is made, where the final assembly is.
I'm not usually a big fan of Chevy design language, or GM in general, but this is actually pretty excellent. It's a really good balance of futuristic while still looking just modern.
All right, so taking a look at the Blazer, looks like up to 290 miles of range. It's pretty competitive.
Yeah.
3.8 seconds to 60, that's very competitive.
With wide open watts.
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling it? Is that what we're going with? Wide open watts?
I like that. It's better than full throttle.
True.
I like that.
You know what? Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, 290 range is not bad. We'll be curious to see what the different battery prices are for the different trim levels and stuff like that. The Equinox, about 300 miles of range up to, it says. What do you reckon, Steffan? How do you feel about it?
Honestly, like, and this is from somebody who hates General Motors, I'm actually really digging both of these. I think they look really good.
Just for the price, it's just incredible.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You cannot argue with that price point.
We'll be taking a look at the Ioniq in a little bit, but that's the thing that we've been seeing is that a lot of these electric cars that are good, they're getting really expensive. Like the EV6 just went up. How much was it, Andrew? $7,000. The EV6 went up in base price, right? For the $7,000. Like at that rate, like how is it going to be affordable for the general?
Because that was always the promise of this, was that EVs were supposed to trickle down and they'd be affordable, and instead they've been stuck at that $40,000, $50,000.
Did you notice that has slotted brake rotors?
Does it really?
Yes.
Yes, it does. See, and everything.
This is the Bolt EV, which I've always really enjoyed. I'm not sure. Oh, this is for the 2LT. but I believe this is supposed to start at $26,000 this year, and that plus a tax credit.
There's been some debate on that, if the pricing is going to stay the same with the tax credit in place.
Oh, you think that they would jack up the price so that it would then come back down to the original? We'll have to take a look. I've always liked the Bolt, though, to be honest with you. I think it's had always had great range. You know, easily like a 250 mile plus vehicle, good space. I'm not sure I would want the bigger EUV or whatever it's called. I actually like the standard.
Well, you say it's bigger, and it is physically bigger.
Yeah.
But the storage capacity overall is actually less.
Yeah. Then, well, I would for sure get this one.
Yeah.
And even more, that would make more sense. So.
I think the big thing is it rides a little bit higher, and that's everybody wants that high seating position.
Yeah. The Bolt EUV, which I just remembered, they use the CSS combo standard. Unlike the Leaf, which uses CHAdeMO, which is always a little bit silly. But yeah, Steffan was just saying that the EUV isn't actually that much bigger inside, so I would probably save the money and just get the quote-unquote smaller version.
It just rides a touch higher. That's really the only thing it's got going for it.
I don't have issues getting in and out of cars, unlike Andrew. You know, he's a bit of an old man. He likes that kind of ease of getting in and out, but...
I kind of dig this color, though. It's kind of this off silver,
it's a pearlescent silver.
Well, it's got kind of like a hint of like yellowish
it does.
to it. It's
I
kind
like
of
it.
champagne-ish.
Yeah. So this is the Nissan Ariya, which is their electric crossover thing, and I actually think it looks pretty good. Steffan,
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
We're seeing a lot of this kind of like goldish color around here too.
That's true. The Bentley was in this color. Now we have a Nissan EV in this color. It's fantastic. I can't find any specs on it, but I like the styling of it overall.
Pre-production.
Yeah.
I can see Nissan moving a lot of these.
Okay, up to 300-mile range, four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Not bad. I dig.
The matte gray.
That's not matte.
No,
that's
kind of just
gray.
a flat. I do love that though. It's a good color on this. The seat just looks so good. I don't care if it's slightly worse than a Supra. I think it looks better. Is that a hot take?
Well, you know, you and I might have different priorities in life. I'm all about how the vehicle drives.
I don't like the door handles.
That's very Z though.
Yeah,
that's true.
Very, very Z.
The black roof.
Oh, the black roof looks great. This is what all the manufacturers should do instead of the electric door handles, is just have like a little cutout, and then you can still physically open it. Oof. Let's see if can I get in and out comfortably? I can. This is sized appropriately for a 6'1" man. It's as far back as that telescopes. Kind of crunchy.
Supra is an option.
I do like the layout of everything though. It's pretty ergonomic, gets you the important stuff. I like the gauges up top as well. And it looks a lot more spacious back there than it was in the 370.
Yeah, that's true. These door panels are sure from 370. So this is the Dodge Hornet.
No, it's not.
Well, I don't know what it is then. I don't know much about this car, other than I think it comes as a hybrid version, and I like the color of this one.
Again, actually, there's a color theme here too. This is even kind of similar.
Everyone loves the gray, the slate gray thing, but this actually I like has more blue hue to it, so that's kind of cool.
Sonic gray.
But this is actually an Alpha, and if I remember correctly, Alpha is actually really upset that this car exists because they put a lot of work into getting their platform out, and Dodge came in and was like, we're going to also use this, and they kind of stole their thunder.
Take a seat. I kind of want your thoughts on some things here,
okay.
Steffan.
I see it's got the traditional Alpha B-pillar way up in the front. That's cool.
It's the signature. But, you know, once again, we're in a situation here where the interior is okay. Nothing special. But I like it because everything seems to work, which is a wild concept nowadays. And so, you know, I'll give this an interior pass, even if it looks a little bit boring and whatnot. Everything just seems to work.
It's comfortable enough. It's totally adequate.
Yep.
Yeah, this is an Alpha.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at a real Alpha. All right, so this is the Alfa Romeo Tonale, or Tonale. I don't know how to pronounce it.
This is the Dodge Hornet.
The headlights almost look the same too.
Yeah.
Awkwardly enough. But I love this color. You gotta love this color.
I love that Alpha has, I've seen this green on a couple different Alphas. Just looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, that's when we have a good color, right? You just want to use it for everything. It's the toenail.
So yeah, this is the car that Alpha was working on this, and Dodge said, hey, we want to use this platform for our own SUV.
Yeah.
And Alpha is not thrilled about that.
I'm just most amazed that the taillights are almost identical. I think they, like, we'll do some side-by-side shots maybe, but...
It shows the attention to detail that Dodge has, that they want to make their own distinguishing product.
Yes.
Wait. No, they don't.
Unbelievable.
This is actually, I'm really looking forward to this. My wife drives a Grand Cherokee. We've been looking at this. I've built a couple. I'm terrified by what the pricing works out to when I build it.
Just don't look at the pricing. Just
don't look at the pricing. Don't think about it.
It's just a number.
But seriously, like, look at this interior. They've done such a good job with it. This looks competitive with anything that Rover's putting out, that really any of the big luxury brands, I would think. This feels good. This looks good. And although I do want to point out, I know this is a show car, and there's been people getting in and out of it all day, but you can already see all of the wear here, so maybe that doesn't bode well for how this leather is going to age. But
I will say though, I really like this wood trim right here.
oh yeah, exposed wood in cars.
It's so textured.
I don't know why everyone does glossy. That is so nice.
They don't want people to get splinters and then sue them. That's the problem.
I have to say this. Come feel this knob.
Is it good?
This is the best knob I've ever felt in a car.
Let's take a look here. I'll be the judge of that because the Lexus LC500 has the best volume knob in a car.
How chunky that is. And then these switches too.
I do like that. I do like that.
That is just solid. I'm assuming that's a drive selector of some sort?
No, multimedia. Well, maybe. Maybe you're right.
Because I'm guessing this is all touchscreen, I believe.
Yeah. I'll get a couple shots here, but it looks like there's a lot of black plastic surfaces, and I worry though that some of them are plastic trim and other are actually like blank displays at this moment. So it's kind of confusing. Yeah. But I'm capturing all the fingerprints here.
Oh, I just noticed there's a screen on the passenger dash too.
Is this?
Yeah, look at that.
You
can see the cutout for the screen. I don't even know what you would display there. Oh my God, though, this.
You want to hop in the back?
I do, actually. I really do. Whoa. Oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 6'1", and I had plenty of space up there, and I've got tons of space back here. This would be a good place to spend a road trip, spend some time. Jeep has really done well with this. Although, again, black plastic, there's some scratches here already.
I assume
this is a trend that needs to die in the industry.
I assume that the seats also recline a little bit as well. Nice.
Take a nice nap back here,
nice,
yeah.
Nice. Got the panel roof on top.
It's got a camera up here, I think.
Nice.
I don't know what that's for. How much space do you have behind that third row? Is that still usable
That's
as
usable.
is?
That's usable for someone like me, not so much you guys.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's
this is not bad.
That's about what you'd expect for a 3-row SUV.
Yeah. Honestly, the Wagoneer over there isn't that much better, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I like this. I like this a lot. I like that they got the electric one on the off-road style tires because, rolling resistance. 56 mpge, 470 mile combined driving range. Wow. That's right, because it is a hybrid too.
Well, it's a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
You can block Teslas with this at the charging.
You can block Teslas.
I'd buy it for
58,000. That's pretty reasonable for what you're getting.
That's basically the same as the normal one we just set.
Oh, here it is with some of the stuff down there's lighting up for you too. So it's got like a display for the different driving modes, height, I guess. Service hybrid electric vehicle system. So this locks in place. This really does not look like as good of a place to be without like the nice supple brown leather, without the exposed wood trim.
This one you're paying for the hybrid drivetrain, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference in price.
Yeah.
That's where the money's being spent on this.
I'd rather get the nicer one.
Although I'm not gonna lie, Steffan, I do really like the light blue stitching here for some reason.
Light blue stitching? Oh, yeah. Oh. That's a nice little touch. I'm for it.
All right, so this is the Elantra N. It's basically the engine from a Veloster N, but in Elantra form. Kind of irritating that the Veloster doesn't exist anymore, but here we are. I love this color.
It's a great blue.
It's a great blue, but it actually comes in the Hyundai N blue, like this kind of light blue. So that's probably what I would order. Great seats. Love that the logo lights up here like on a BMW M car. You gotta love that. This one is the dual clutch one, which is obviously not what I would order. I would obviously prefer the manual. This is a really logical interior. You know, again, we were talking a lot, we're focusing a lot on interiors this time around, and everything is laid out really logically. There's buttons for everything, there's knobs for everything. It's just, it's fantastic. Dedicated climate controls right here as well.
I like that it's all angled toward the driver too. That is a trend that I really like.
It is, and it has dual screens here, but this is the cleanest actually dual screen integration I've seen in a lot of cars. I don't know, it just all makes sense. I like it. I don't like how cheap this handbrake is. I think this is terrible. It's not leather lined, which makes no sense to me. I like the ambient lighting here. I like the what was it called, Andrew? The N grin shift is what NGS stands for. This gives you a temporary overboost in the turbo, which is insane. This locks to your driver profiles.
Love it.
But man, it's just such a fun vehicle. We'll probably have to test one of these. This is gonna be interesting to see. I've heard nothing but good things about how these drive. Yeah, there you go. That's a classic Hyundai build quality right there.
Yeah, this is. There's a big creak right here too.
Yes, there is. There is. That's right, German boy. So this is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which is of course the twin to the Kia EV6, and then whatever that. What's the Genesis one called? The GV70, which should not be confused with their GV80 and GV90, which are their bigger gas engine SUVs. So there's no designation that the 70 is electric. Anyways, I love the styling on this thing, man. I love the lights on it. It's all squares and it looks like pixels. And
I wonder how it's going to hold up long term too, though.
For sure, for sure. The packaging on this car is quite clever. The wheelbase is extremely stretched out, so that in the footprint of a smaller car, you can have the interior of a much larger car. I'll have you be the judge of it because you're taller than me.
Okay.
But go ahead and take a seat here. See what you think of that.
I don't care for the white panel with the black screens, and obviously they're not lit up or anything, but I never like it when manufacturers do that, like any white panel
the
against
white
the screen.
bezel is the literal reason I never bought a white iPhone. Is because I hated that my screen didn't blend in with the rest of the bezel of the phone.
I will say that ergonomics here, like some of this stuff, like there's a storage pocket here. Trying to get down to this
I didn't even think of
a
that.
little bit ridiculous.
That's in a different time zone than me, actually. I'm having a
Can you even reach?
No, not this driving position, but this isn't that far from me, but that's like another good foot. That's a dark abyss.
That's the shadow realm.
I can't see anything in there.
You throw something in there.
The very important thing to note, again, because we have a focus on interiors this year, is the Ioniq 5 has all touch control for the HVAC, whereas the EV6 actually doesn't.
Oh.
So the EV6 has a physical knob that changes for volume or HVAC depending on which mode it's in. So if you change the HVAC, the whole entire thing changed to climate control if you press it again. But at least for the adjustment of volume and HVAC, they share a knob, but there is a physical knob on the EV6. So we'll take a look at that on the Kia side, which again is mechanically identical to this. Steffan, what do you think about this? This is a magnetic felt surface, and it's not MagSafe, so it doesn't work for iPhone or anything like that.
Sure.
But it sticks like sticky notes or something like that. I don't quite understand.
I can't say honestly that I've ever had a thought about putting a sticky note in a car.
But you know, whatever you would have put on like your magnetic whiteboard in the office or on a fridge, you would be able to do on this magnetic surface here, which makes literally no sense for me. I think it would make a lot of sense if I could put my phone there. Yeah, this does slide. There's I think in front of the cup holders, if you grab, there's like a button, and then you can there you go.
What is that, to give you an armrest in a different position, or? Yeah,
I guess it's like how much rear or front room you want to trade off, right?
I want to point out that car had, I think, the slightly lighter interior too.
Yeah.
It still has the white bezel, and
no, Ioniq 5 all have this. They don't have black.
I don't hate it. It doesn't remove anything from the experience for me.
In the far back position, the middle seat is basically unusable.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would basically have it in this position all the time because this doesn't take away any space that I would use in the front, but it allows the middle seat to actually be usable. So this.
I think I would be further up too. Like again, I'm a big guy, and I would still be closer than I am right now. So
I don't think I would get a higher trim just to have this
No. I do love the pano roof, though. It makes this feel very open and airy. That's good.
We're going to take a look at the EV6, which is, of course, the Kia version of the Ioniq 5. Steffan, I'm going to have you take a seat because these seats are just absolutely fantastic. I want you to experience that.
I am actually pretty hyped about the EV6. My brother has a Nero, and oh wow.
And can I just say, this has the physical buttons, because I guess they consider this a slightly lower trim, which I am all for.
I like the layout of this.
Yeah.
It's not, things aren't where you think they would be, but I really like this panel here. I like you say, I like that it's physical solid buttons.
This has the physical knob, so again, this will change between volume or climate control based on what mode you're in, but at least it does have a physical knob.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. It's kind of like adaptive. And there's like a wireless charging pad right here.
This is pretty well thought out, I think. Although, suede seats.
Well, this is the GT, so it's the sportier one. So it has the suede seats over the leather. Which again, I agree with you. I heard your little rant earlier. I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of the Alcantara trend thing.
Even at the EV6 price point, between this and that the Q4 e-tron over there, I would have a hard time buying a Kia that costs the same as an Audi.
Yeah, but spec-wise, it's better though, right? It's a better EV than the Audi, unfortunately. Really, with the Audi, right, you're paying for that Audi badge, whereas this is like a... But at the same time, this is still not quite at that $35,000 EV that everyone hopes for, right?
No. Though again, glossy plastic.
We love our glossy plastic. Let's take a look at this. We were trying to figure out a...
How do you... Okay, you remove the panel.
Oh, there's the subwoofer.
And then you can... Oh, it's just to get at the sub, I guess.
Maybe it's chassis bracing. Yeah, I'm very confused at...
Why? Why is this like this? And I do like this little diamond pattern here.
I did too.
That's a really nice touch.
Yeah, it's like a smoked chrome thing.
The LED reverse lights under the plate.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's like an F1 style.
Yeah, that's a good touch. There's one truck we're here to look at.
Yeah, Ford Lightning, which, if you're talking about revitalizing an old nameplate, that's such a cool way to do it. Right?
Fantastic.
I love the old Lightning. I thought it was so cool, but to do that when they brought EV to the F-150, I thought that was such a great opportunity to reuse that nameplate.
I really love what they've done with the grille here. It doesn't look too futuristic. It doesn't scream "I am an EV" at you.
Right.
But still has a lot of that Ford character, and you can still tell like that light bar is very much.
So you know what's funny about the light bar though is that I personally don't like it, which is a personal opinion. But they actually make like a contractor model that's a little bit less expensive, and that one doesn't have it, which I really like.
Really?
Yeah. So it has like more basic seats. It has like the more entry-level battery, and it doesn't have the light bar. And I actually really like that contract model. I think it's like $45,000 for the contractor model, something like that. Pretty good value for an electric pickup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Steffan, we got to talk about the range when towing thing, right? Because that's a huge thing that's going on right now. And I get the argument about it, but at the same time, I think it's such a small percentage of people that actually care about towing when they're driving a truck.
Yeah. And for those people, the big diesel trucks aren't going away.
Yeah, they can buy that. But for the rest of the people that don't actually tow, this is a much better package, you know, in terms of a truck, especially since you can like plug in your power saw and all that stuff. You can do other truck things besides towing with this, and I really enjoy that.
I don't think this is going to be an inaccurate claim.
Yeah.
We'll make it.
Yeah.
I think that most of the people who would be upset about long-distance towing or who it would affect them probably aren't buying F-150s anyway.
Yeah, they would buy
F-250s or 350s. Yeah.
Like the dually too and all that stuff. Right, yeah.
They need to tow a gooseneck.
Yeah.
But for folks who are rolling in town, anything you can would do with an F-150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. And the front is absolutely massive on this, which is neat. So this is the Ford Maverick, which is their smallest truck. It's front-wheel drive based. There's a hybrid one that does like 35 miles per gallon, blah, blah. Starts at $22,000 now. It's not under $20,000 anymore. This is a nicer all-wheel drive one, but man, I just love how functional this interior is.
Yeah.
And I love how small this truck is. It's such a, this to me is, what's up?
Just this panel with everything pulled out, that is such a nice touch.
The Maverick I like because I think it's kind of like the modern Subaru Baja or like a smaller Honda Ridgeline. It's a truck for people that don't actually need to do truck things, but wants like the flavor of a truck, so to speak, right? They want to haul dirt, and they want to be able to just hose it out instead of having to clean out their SUV.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I like that it's efficient. My only complaint is I wish that the hybrid came as an all-wheel drive. But other than that, I think it's such a great package. I configured one last night because I couldn't stop thinking about this car last night, dude.
Dreaming about the Maverick.
Basically, I would get the cheapest Maverick I could get with all-wheel drive, and then with like one option package, basically, with the steel wheels, $27,000. Yeah, for a little all-wheel drive. And then I also equipped it with like the ski racks in the back as well, because I would totally take this skiing. This is the type of car. And it's just so small and cute. I love it.
It'd be used. It's 100% usable. Yeah. I recommended my my parents, my in-laws, purchase a Ridgeline a couple years ago because they needed it for occasional truck stuff. And if this had been around,
it's the
Maverick
right.
all day.
It's a truck for non-truck people.
Yeah,
and
it's a truck
like
for non-truckers.
Yeah. So Steffan, this is the the Toyota BZ4 XT 42069 R2D2, so whatever that thing is, the one that they're all recalled right now.
The wheels were falling
off. Yeah,
yes.
Just like the Bentleys did back in the 2010s. And I want you to sit inside it, because this is something that Andrew and I noticed. So go ahead and sit inside here. I'll walk you through kind of my thought process here. Okay, I know you can't adjust the seat, or maybe you can adjust the seat. Oh, it's manual, so adjust the seat, okay? And I want you to feel out, okay, and adjust the steering wheel to your liking. Now look forward at that gauge cluster. Tell me what you see, and I'll tell you what I was experiencing.
I'm missing about the lower third of it, basically.
Same here. No matter what the steering wheel position was, I could not see the gauge cluster.
If I have the steering wheel all the way down here,
you can see above it.
And I can't really get my knee under this. This is...
For me, the only way I was going to be able to actually use the gauge cluster was to have the steering wheel all the way down, so that I'd be able to actually see over the steering wheel at the gauge cluster. It is an absolute ergonomic nightmare, and we're not even going to talk about how cheap this material is right here.
This is carpet.
Yes.
They put carpet on the dash of their car.
It's matching carpet to your seat.
This is not good.
It is not good.
Glossy, disgusting plastic everywhere.
Yes.
The touchscreen's badly integrated into the dash.
But it's mostly this. This drives me crazy. I cannot stand this.
That is so stupid. So stupid.
So there is the Toyota BZ4 XT, I think is officially what it's called. It sounds like the name of Elon's child.
And if it's not already, we have an idea for his next kid's
child,
name.
Yeah. All right, so this is the Toyota Crown, which I actually have really fond memories of the actual Crown overseas, because whenever I was in China, I would spot the Toyota Crown, which was kind of like a step below the Lexus LS. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a version of the Lexus LS that's called the Toyota Celsior or something like that, and it literally looks like a Lexus LS but with Toyota badges. The Crown wasn't that. The Crown was, I believe, a step below. It was rear-wheel drive and stuff. This is not what the Crown is overseas. So this is a hybrid of sorts. It's a sedan SUV thing, so it's kind of like the Polestar 2 body style, where it's like a sedan on a high riding body type of thing. I'm really confused by it, but
it looks pretty good though. I do like the contrast of the red on black here.
That's certainly an opinion that you have, yeah, for sure. But I'm not sure why it exists. I think the idea was that it's supposed to appeal to the SUV hungry nature of the US market. But the thing is though, it has the ground clearance of an SUV. It doesn't quite have the ride position of an SUV, and also it has a sloped roof, so it's going to make ease of getting in and out quite difficult as well. So it's kind of the worst of all worlds, and so I just don't understand any of that either. But
and I'm sure they'll sell millions.
We'll see. And it's only hybrid. Why isn't it an EV? So I thought it was so that they could debut like an EV powertrain, but no idea. That's the Toyota Crown. This is the Toyota GR86, of course. This is the second generation, and it's a twin with the BRZ. Basically, every complaint that people had about FRS, first generation BRZ, GT86, blah, blah, has been fixed. The 2.4 liter four-cylinder has a much better torque curve. It doesn't have a weird torque dip that my car has. They also improved like the interior. They added more safety features. They sharpened the steering, handling. But fundamentally, it is still, a lightweight two-door sports car, which is awesome. I love seeing people struggle to get in and out of it. I actually used to use, pre-COVID, I used the back seats on my BRZ pretty often. I put people back there. They're very short, small people, but I would put people back there. Nowadays, though, I find it really great for putting stuff. I throw my dirty clothes back there.
I mean, they exist so it's not classified as a two-seater for insurance purposes.
Sure,
That's
sure.
all the more it is.
Sure. Yeah. No, but I like it. It's a great shelf for my stuff. But yeah, that's the GR86. For the very first time, I actually prefer how the Toyota looks. I got the BRZ because, one, out of principle, I wanted the BRZ because it's made by Subaru, so obviously I'm going to get the Subaru version. And I also liked how the BRZ looked over the Scion at the time. But this generation, I don't know what Subaru did. It's something about that front bumper, and then maybe Andrew can throw a side-by-side little clip right here. But there's something about that front bumper, about the BRZ I don't quite like. I like how the GR86 looks. So if I were to trade in my BRZ, I'd get the Toyota this time around. Let's take a look at the interior. My favorite thing about these cars is the driving position on these cars just makes so much sense. The steering wheel telescopes a good amount as well. If this would cooperate with me, this is really stiff on this one. But anyways, the steering wheel moves a lot, lots of adjustment. And my favorite word to use about the BRZ is it's just instinctual. The driving position is very instinctual. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. The pedal placement is fantastic. The steering wheel placement is fantastic. These new seats are a lot better than mine, I must admit. But overall, would I trade in mine for a new one? I'm not sure. I think if I were to, I'd probably get a completely different car. It feels like it's kind of a waste to trade in my car for the slightly updated version of an existing platform. I would probably try something completely different this time around. Just for experience sake. But man, I'm so glad that the second generation of this car exists. It means that, we bought enough of them that made it so that it made financial sense for Toyota to buy more, to sell more of these, and to spend the R&D money of it. So really happy that this car exists. It really shows Toyota that, hey, sports cars can make financial sense as well. All right, Steffan, the ID.4, which I know is on your list of consideration because you're kind of curious to see if your family wants to transition to EVs. We've talked about this before. Yeah. The window switches. The dual window switches for the 4 windows. And so
how do I get it to the?
You touch that, and then it lights up, and then you operate the rear. I want you to explain to me in what universe that makes any sense.
It's silly.
Yeah.
But if that is the biggest complaint about this car.
No. The biggest complaint is what Andrew will tell you, which is that, one, who owns Electrify America? Or who funds a lot of Electrify America?
It's a Volkswagen?
It's Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And guess which car charges the least reliably on Electrify America?
Is it the ID.4?
Yes, it's Volkswagen.
You know what? Hey, so like you were talking about the Toyota, the R2D2.
Yeah.
It had the cluster in a place where you couldn't see it when you adjusted the steering wheel.
Yeah, this adjusts with it.
Yeah,
it's a concept, isn't it? It's a
much
concept.
smarter.
Yeah.
What is this shifter though?
That's shifter. This is the famous haptic buttons on Volkswagens right now. We'll talk about that a little bit more on the GTI because that's.
Oh. I don't like that.
Yeah, you think? And don't forget the lights right here. And like I said, the defrost is also on here as well, which makes a lot of sense.
Why is everything a touch?
Yeah, it doesn't even vibrate, which is the best part.
Is this at least good? Okay, this feels quick, and it's got big touch targets, so they've at least...
We'll try to adjust the temperature.
Try to adjust the temperature?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's that touch bar on the bottom. Try to use it.
Ah. Oh, what?
Oh, maybe it's off right now.
It might, it might just not be able to.
My favorite thing about the Volkswagen touch panel thing there, it's not lit at night.
Wait, what?
So that's just all darkness.
Seriously?
Yes.
That's...
Oh, there you go. Hey, there's temp. How do you do the temp?
There's a thing here,
Do you slide it? And you put your finger on slide it, maybe?
There's not... Maybe because the car isn't on, it won't let me actually adjust that. But like that is just...
Take a look at
buttons.
rear.
Give me buttons.
Oh, rear legroom is good. You would like that.
And I got plenty of space up there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, if somebody fits back there.
I like this gray as well. I like the styling of the ID.4. I would prefer to have the, what was the smaller one, ID3, Andrew? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we didn't get the hatchback here, right? Yeah.
I think it looks really good.
Looks really good.
I've heard good things about how it drives.
The thing is, though, every electric car is going to drive well. It's hard to make a bad one.
Yeah, but you can talk about like the refinement of the car and the drive itself. Like there are characteristics that all EVs share that can lead to good driving dynamics.
Yeah.
But it's also about the refinement of the drive, the level of noise that you get, how it handles that ride quality. And those are all things that I've heard very good things about in the ID.4.
Yeah. Steffan. This is the Mach-E GTI, so it's the generation newer than mine. This is also the Autobahn, so this is the fully loaded highest trim version. What do you think of this interior? Because considering that we spent the entire day basically in my GTI, we had to film Cars and Fuel earlier.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time in my car. How do you feel about this interior compared to my generation? I want your perspective, not just my biased personal opinion.
I don't think it's going to age as gracefully.
Yep.
I don't hate it. I do think things are laid out in a reasonable way, but capacitive buttons everywhere.
This is all also I noticed is a harder material than in my car as well.
Yeah.
There's also stuff like we couldn't figure out what this slot is for. It's not for your phone because that would go here. So this is like a piece of celery, maybe.
It's where you keep your pen.
Yeah,
so when you go to the bank and deposit.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's also this cup holder thing which does this, which I don't.
Oh, it's to hold. If you have a smaller drink, I don't know how to get it back, but if you have a smaller drink in here that doesn't quite fit there, this will kind of hold that in place.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things in here to just. Does this even open? Oh, it does. Thank goodness.
Oh, there's a crown in there.
Yeah, there's a crown in here, but there's just so many little details in here that don't make sense. Again, this doesn't light up at night, so you won't be able to see how you're going to adjust your temp.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
It looks.
Yeah.
I do like that they've managed to retain a lot of interior character, though. Like, you know, we don't have the. I don't know if they still make them with the plaid seats, but they do have this nice
the cloth one would be plaid,
gray, red. Like, it just brings a lot of character to a small hatch, which you don't often get these days. But these touch controls need to die.
I just don't understand why the defrosters are over there. But yeah, the overall sense of quality is far lower in this car than mine. It's even like this textured plastic doesn't quite make sense, and it's just it feels like, again, it's the gimmick thing, right? We're all about making gimmicks nowadays, rather than bringing any actual value to cars.
I will say though, from like an ergonomics perspective, I think it's still fine. I can reach everything easily. Again, like I'm not going to keep hammering on that, but I think from an ergonomics perspective, I do still think this is well thought out and well laid out.
Yeah.
For a modern car that's trying to switch over to that styling.
Yeah, but that's before we talk about this stuff.
Yeah, this is dumb and terrible.
There's one more thing I'll show you in the trunk here, which I saw in someone's video, and I'll never forget about it. In Europe, you're required to have reflectors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that would go right here. In the US, you don't, and instead of covering it up, they just kind of left this open, like this. This is from the factory in the US, this is what they...
Perfect.
Right, like... This is the type of cost cutting we were talking about, right? Like, it's the same platform as mine, so it's still NQB platform, so it still drives reasonably well. But I spent $1 billion in R&D on this car, and do you know what they spent it on? How to make it be more cost effective to produce. They didn't spend it on chassis development or anything like that. It was €1 billion in developing it to try to make it less expensive to produce, which is kind of sad to think about.
That's heavy. Manufacturers don't learn.
Dude, mine has gas struts. I don't have to use a hood.
Well, cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
And technically more reliable, honestly. Like,
that's true.
I got no problem. Of all the things to get hung up on, that is one that I won't gripe too much about.
Oh, this has the light bar. The higher end model has the light bar right here. So we talked about the whole steering wheel thing. This is the GLI, which is actually still based on the Mark 7 Golf platform, which had all the physical buttons and the knobs and stuff. But when they facelifted it, they put the capacitive steering wheel in this car, so they removed like the. And actually, that's something that we noticed as well. If you look at the Tiguan and whatnot, they used to have physical buttons, and then they facelifted it and added the haptic controls in. They facelifted and made it worse. I don't understand.
Thankfully, they're going back. They've learned.
Well, we'll see. That's going to take another model year or two, right? This is something that I've noticed, like being at the auto show and like kind of observing how other people like take in interiors and stuff. It all makes sense why everyone's going towards touchscreens and stuff. Because as soon as someone gets into a car, it has like, the digital cockpit and like touchscreen this, touchscreen that, everyone immediately thinks it's like the most amazing interior ever.
It gets your attention.
It gets your attention. It's just, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough coming at it from a car enthusiast perspective and kind of seeing like the general market, because that's what's going to dictate what decisions they're going to make, right? Is what the general market likes.
Yeah.
And they like shiny touchscreen things, and so.
Someone's got to save consumers from themselves.
Yeah. All right, this is the BMW M3 Competition. in a fantastic gray. Again, we're seeing a theme of gray cars here. I love the flat gray. I really want you to try these seats because the seats are fantastic. They're
I'm looking forward to it.
The best seat I've ever experienced.
Love this blue.
I love this blue too.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning color.
Dude, this interior is really sweet too. I don't know if I'd be bold enough to get it, but this kind of like baby blue with like the highlighter yellow accent.
Oh, that is clean.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it works, but I actually quite like it.
I've actually not been a fan of BMW interiors for a while now.
Yeah.
I feel like they got to a point where they were very dated. No matter what, it felt like you were driving like an old, like an E46 era BMW. Even with all the new tech, it felt the same.
Yep.
But I feel like they're starting to come into their own a little bit and really bringing that back. Especially as much as it physically pains me to say it, the iX has a pretty stunning interior.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to do something right because they're not making driver's cars anymore. All their cars drive like Camrys.
Oh yeah, the yellow piping.
Yeah.
Oh, that is pretty good. Yeah. And that's about the right size. A problem that I often have with bolstered seats is that they're too tight around the sides. For me, I'm a big guy, and but this actually fits very, very well. Very plushy, very comfortable. This would be a good place to spend some time.
I like the lumbar on it as well. It's super adjustable, but it's like really, really gentle. Some lumbars are a little bit too aggressive for me. I will say though, the one complaint I have about the interior, probably many, but try to close this lid for me, okay? Do you feel how it kind of like jets out horizontal?
It pulls forward first, and then
Yeah, it just doesn't quite make.
I think once you get used to it, that might be fine, but it's a little unnerving. I want to just pull it down.
Yeah, the angle of it is a little odd. I do like though they left climate control display right here, right?
Just still do the touch.
Full digital dash.
Yeah, I always love this little touch where you hold your finger on it without pressing the button, and it like lets you know up here at the top what.
Oh, before you press it.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So that way you can check like, oh, is this the right radio station? Is this the right shortcut? And then you press the button, and you can even save a specific function to it.
The HUD is also neat as well because it's augmented reality. So it'll actually place in real life, which I think is kind of neat. But man, these seats are so good. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, I would road trip in this.
I like the Art Deco lighting. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called.
I feel like this has been one of the most contentious pieces of BMW design today. Is the new snout? I don't know what to call it. The snout.
It's a nostril. Let's call it what it is.
It's a nostril. Yeah. And I will say, in photos, I absolutely hate it. I think it does not photograph well at all. But in person, especially with the plate breaking it up, that's not bad.
It's okay.
And especially on the M4 with all of the other aggressive bodywork, like it kind of works.
It doesn't work though on the 430i like base 4 Series coupe thing.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't have the wide body, but it still has a
You've got an aggressive snout on your car and then nothing else around it.
I'm still waiting for I think there's some European aftermarket bumper company that made a version of this bumper without it, and it looks so clean.
Old school kidney grill.
Yeah, yes, it just looks so normal, and you just wonder, you're like, what is going on?
What is actually, why is it unbalanced? Is there...
Radar. That's the radar.
They couldn't have done that better. All that space.
No, that'd be silly.
And they still had to hit. Okay.
BMW i4 M50i, which is the quickest electric version of the 4 Series Grand Coupe that you can get. And pay attention to this one because we will actually be reviewing one of these, which is going to be really exciting. Things I like about it, it looks like a regular BMW 3 4 Series. It doesn't really have a frunk, but with that said though, this or Model 3, I would have this all day long.
Yeah.
It has a BMW built interior. The range is okay on it, and I don't think it's quite as quick as the Tesla equivalent. But most critically, you don't have to drive a Tesla. You have one of these. And that's really important to me.
I absolutely.
Have you sat in one yet?
No.
Let's make sure that you get a chance to sit in it.
I will say, I would pay the extra premium to do this over the Tesla, not just to avoid driving a Tesla, but because I trust BMW to kind of hammer in those driving dynamics and pay the attention to those details. BMW, meanwhile, I trust that they will have taken the time to think about the suspension, how it's going to handle, how it's going to drive.
And you know, Andrew brought up this really funny point, which is like, you know, if BMW is going to make a numb steering nowadays anyways, they might as well make an electric vehicle.
Sure.
It's like that.
Sure.
If they're not going to make the best driving ICE internal combustion engine vehicle, maybe they can make the best handling electric vehicle. I think it's clever that they did it as the i4 instead of the i3. So this is based on the 4 Series Grand Coupe, which I didn't even know existed as non-electric version. But basically, it's the coupe design, but with the four-door practicality.
Is it still a 5-seater? No, 4-seater setup.
No, it has a middle seatbelt buckle. Very good integration with the dual screen. I do like that.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little cleaned up in here. Fewer buttons up here. They're slowly stripping out, like it doesn't have the hotkey buttons anymore.
Yeah.
So they're slowly stripping out some of that stuff, but still, you got all the high points. Sure.
It's a hatchback too, which is nice.
I'm looking forward to reviewing this.
Yes, it's gonna be nice. The one we're reviewing is green. And the owner was going to get the baseball brown interior, but unfortunately he wanted cooled seats, so he couldn't get the brown leather with it.
That's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
Saddle brown is the way to go. So, I have strong feelings about the iX. So this is just far and away the worst implementation of the nostrils, and I think the ugliest front end on any car on the road today. You know how I said a minute ago that the M4 photographs poorly but then looks okay in person?
This doesn't.
This does not.
No.
This does not photograph well. It does not look good in person.
And I saw this in my rearview mirror and I was a little sick. I was like, what is...
I remember we had to get the barf bag.
But I looked back and I was like, what is that behind us?
I will say, I actually think this might work okay in like black and no other color.
Oh, like the exterior color is also black? Yeah.
Anything where it hides all of this as much as possible.
I agree.
But this makes it so much worse, I think. That just... I hope that as BMW transitions into electrics, we get more of that and less of this. It's actually okay if you chop it off here. Everything from there back is actually pretty okay and pretty good looking, but everything from the headlights forward is just terrible.
Now you want to try the interior because
I am excited about the interior.
It's the most redeeming feature.
Oh yeah, well I mean look, like it's the way it's implemented, everything, like it's stunning. Oh, it has the Swarovski crystal buttons.
Yes.
I think they're Swarovski. So I was really looking forward to this, but actually even before I get in, you pointed this out, but Alcantara suede everywhere. This is on an SUV that's conceivably going to be used by families. This is going to age just terribly. Alcantara everything is a bad trend in the industry, in my opinion. But I really do like the crystal buttons for the seat adjusters. I think that's cool. As a very big Mercedes guy, I love the seat adjustments on the doors. I think everyone should do that. It's brilliant and so much easier than hunting for it on the side of the seat. But I really do like this interior. The wood panels here. It does have capacitive buttons everywhere, which I didn't know about. It has
wood capacitive buttons, which is the most wildest thing I've ever seen.
It has wooden capacitive buttons, which it looks good. It's well thought out. I really like the way that they've, I don't want to say integrated, because they've not integrated it into the dash, but the way that they've implemented the dual screen is excellent, I think. I really dig this minus all of this. Although the whole thing presses as a button, so...
I didn't realize that the whole frame is carbon fiber.
Oh, that's cool.
They're exposed, look at it.
Oh, that's nice. I do like that. At the very least, this is capacitive, but then it presses. Like, you can tell that you're hitting a button. You can kind of feel it, because they're raised, like they have little ridges. You can kind of... If you get really used to it, I could see you making that work. Very spacious, though. I think it looks like a full-size adult could fit behind me pretty comfortably. I like the red. There's these little red lights that are showing up on the windows too, and you can see them in the back there. Very, very sharp.
Some sort of BMW Art Cars over here, which I've never seen before, but that's definitely unique. So we're gonna get some shots of it here.
Everything's exactly the way you want it.
I like the Pink Panther, that's cute. This is the Audi Q4 e-tron, so the electric version of the Q4. I like the interior. The 4-spoke wheel is kind of interesting.
I really like the layout of this. This is the first time I've seen this new Audi layout in person.
And it has physical controls for
Thank
the
you,
volume.
Audi.
And a dedicated display right here. Yeah, so this has a capacitive volume
iPod Nano
knob.
touch wheel.
Yeah, it's just like an iPod where you scroll like this to
Love it.
increase.
Here for it. So like I think it's worth talking about too, but if you are going to do touchscreens in cars, which is kind of the theme we're seeing, that's where the industry's going, at the very least you have to have these giant touch targets everywhere. It has to be easy that I have some room to miss when I'm driving.
But yeah, in terms of modern interiors, I think this is going to be the closest thing I can find to having, a good, combination of physical buttons, but still having like, a big touch screen. It has the digital gauge cluster. I can't ask for a whole lot more from a modern car, unfortunately.
I will say that close to 50, I feel like I would struggle with this interior a little bit. It feels very...
I think this trim level / like battery pack / power level is 50.
Sure.
Yeah, which is not horrible.
But like, just, I don't know, the layout of the interior, like all of this, there's a lot of like plastic everywhere in this car.
I mean, you're gonna see a lot of that in a $50,000 electric car because of course they're spending the money on the electric drivetrain, right?
True.
They're not spending it on here, but at least it's functional. I don't know, I actually like this a lot. This is the Q4 e-tron Sportback, which is, I believe, literally the same thing, but with less trunk space and probably cost more.
You're paying extra for that coupe styling.
Yeah, you're paying extra for the inconvenience. To be honest, I like the look of that one a little bit more. I feel like...
I'm not a very big fan of coupe SUVs.
Oh, please don't tell me you like this.
I actually kind of like
You're
this.
Fired. You're fired.
Just something about that line right there is just quite good. I don't know.
You're terrible. Oh, that's right. This has the rear drum brakes because it's on the Volkswagen ID.4 platform.
Oh, God. Why?
Because it doesn't need it. This is electric.
I hate that, though. I would feel a little gross about buying a $50,000 car with drum brakes. Yeah, that don't feel right.
I guess so. But honestly, it'd be a lot more effective, just practically speaking. Porsche Taycan, specs-wise, kind of similar to Model S, but it's a lot more expensive spec for spec. It's almost double the price on some trims or something crazy like that.
And in true Porsche fashion, you can also option it out and drop another 30, 40 grand easily.
With that said, though, I am excited. We will be testing one hopefully next year, depending on how supply chains go. But I'm most excited to see how it drives because, like you were talking about a little bit earlier, Tesla's never had that chassis tuning quite 100%, and you know that Porsche, that's what they do. They're going to get that button down, and hopefully the interior will also be worth that price point that they set, right? And I also think that Porsche is much better at the EPA range than Tesla is.
Yeah, it's going to be much more accurate.
Yeah, so even though like on paper they're not quite up there in terms of Tesla's EPA range, I think realistically it will end up being about the same because they're just more honest about it, which is an interesting concept. Volkswagen Auto being more honest about efficiency.
Careful. It does look good though, and again, I like that it doesn't look like an EV.
Yeah, and I can't wait for I want to see a Sport Turismo one, the wagon version of this as well.
You know, this is already really encouraging.
Yeah.
Something I've hated about Porsches for a while now is all of the buttons. There's just too much happening on that center stack on a lot of them.
And now that they've gone EV, they've just gotten rid of it.
Yeah, it's very clean, although I don't see hardly any buttons in there. So they might have gone too far in that direction. I really don't care for this front fascia.
So in order to open the door, you gotta press this, and then you can grab it. I like the fake physical volume knob. If you don't know how it works, it's basically like an attached piece of plastic that has touch-sensitive fingers that basically touch the touchscreen to operate it and make it feel like it's a physical volume knob. So that's a neat touch.
Man, I would drive the heck out of this in the low 40s range. I'd be all about it. I don't like that the touchscreen is flat in there. It's not angled toward the driver at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care for that.
Jason Camisa has a video where he basically has a red Mach-E and then he put red duct tape on the black parts to make it show you like what it actually looks like. But yeah, those black lines are there are basically to trick you into making it look like it's a faster back.
That is so smart.
Yeah. All right, so I think we basically covered all the, the new and great stuff at the auto show. Obviously, we covered EVs, which are I mean, I think that was a big part of this show was just the EVs. I think gas cars have kind of come to a plateau, really. There's nothing really new or exciting about them other than maybe some performance cars, but even then it's kind of like a tricky combo.
Yeah. All of the most exciting cars that we saw here today were electric, every single one of them. All the most interesting ones, electric. So it's exciting to see that we're finally coming to that point where we're at the tipping point. Gas cars are no longer in vogue. It's all EVs now. Yeah. And it's good to see manufacturers recognizing that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also just so much choice. You know, back in the day, like we've talked about before, you have to get a Tesla basically, but now like you got some options at different price points, different manufacturers, if you have certain loyalty to certain OEMs or whatnot. But it's exciting.
And the beauty of it too is that they're all in the same price point. They're all compelling options.
Yeah. There's not like, oh, this one is inexpensive because it's bad. Like they all have some type of thing that they bring to the table, which is cool. But yeah, I think that's it for the Seattle Auto Show. Let us know if you were here and we missed you, or there was something else that you were really excited about. But that's gonna be it. Signing out. Like, subscribe, etc., etc.
Take care.